line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's race day. 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 Crank it up. Finger to the sky and a green light shining bright. The only thing I have in mind is the finish line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up.
Well, if you thought the madness last night was pretty crazy, you guys haven't seen nothing yet. We are back here on PTM Racing TV live for our next showcase. Another round of playoff racing here on the track, as we're about to bring you tonight the action of BackFire Sim Racing and the beginning of their playoff series right here on the show. I got on. I am the Crusader Christian Schreiber, joining you guys here tonight as we get ready for the action starting up here on the field and on the pace. Drivers are preparing up and ready to get down to business, get down on the track here and set for the motions as we prepare up here at Kansas Speedway for Kansas City, Kansas. See what happens down here and who will be able to take to the best and to the brightest. We'll take a look at our playoff field of drivers in just a minute, but on the pole, we start with, of course, Blake Howell. And the number 26 is outside to be the 35, Wes Fuller. Row number 2 is going to be Tom Bourne. The 16's outside. That's the 10 of Robert Kenny. Row number 3 is going to be Thaddeus Marshall. And the A7's outside. Well, that's 57 there. That will be Mr. Matthew Rodriguez. Row number 7 is going to be Chris Papa. And the 13 is outside. That will be 77 Patrick McQuaid. Row 5, Cole Martin. The 45 is outside. That'll be at 38 Dylan McDonald. Row 6 sees TJ Robertson. The 11 is outside. The 48 Ricky Gonzalez. And final stars in row number 7, Carl Hamwork at the 51, with his outside being the 46, Josh Bilder. As the field gets squared away here right now on the showcase here, I want to remind you guys at home as well to give a big thank you to our friends over at the Muffler Man. If you're wondering who exactly is the Muffler Man, well, let me tell you about them. They are the mechanic shop that served customers from all over the country for 20 years. Muffler Man is located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services from all various vehicles, including exhaust maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593 to get your vehicles serviced up today. And right about now, let's hope we don't have to get too many of them sent to the shop today as our drivers get squared away and out on the track for their run tonight. In the playoff section tonight, we'll have Carl Hamwork as a number 1 seed with a 371 lead. He'll then also have Blake Howell at 318, and then Tom Bourne at 300. Ricky Gonzalez with the 293s, and Wesley Fuller in the 289 section. Of course, Wes Fuller, as you know him. Patrick McQuaid, 288, with Christian Roos at 277. 268 for Chris Papa. Thaddeus Marshall, 251. 246 for Robert F. Kenny. And then Matthew Rodriguez with 243, and then Cole Martin with 45. That'll round out the playoff section here in our drivers lineup. So definitely a field of drivers here that can be getting some speed and get some runs when they can, try to find some moment and opportunities to strike if they can get to it. I think the toughest part about this race, though, we're going to see is a lot of hooping, a lot of hollering, a lot of folks trying to find runs where they can, trying to find openings when they can get to it. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it all plays out as we bring it down on the mile and a half, 134 laps to the distance. Time to showcase some hard racing and some tough competitors with the next gens. Off to the green flag restart we go. We are underway. Little scrape of the wall ready down there for the number 10 of Robert Kenny. Some drivers going to the bottom early on with Wes Fuller trying to take the overtake here coming down turn 3. Looks to sneak his way past on by as Tom Bourne, the 16 G Fuel machine, kind of lays off for the moment, not trying to make too many enemies out there. Wes Fuller here, the 35. Remember, he is one of the elite field of drivers that has a chance to go away with the championship hunt. He made the playoffs by virtue of his hard racing and his good finishes throughout this season. Looks to continue that hot streak on and that momentum onward as well. Christopher Papa saying it. Here we go. Robert Van Ness saying go 77. A lot of love from our families, our crews down there, as well as the drivers. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning on in. I think the biggest thing, though, we're really to expect, of course, with these drivers is not only just the 3 wide switch you'll see here or there, but also this mile and a half going to really play to be one of the more interesting ones, if you ask me, as Matthew Rodriguez problems down there in the Steak and Shake 57. I was just about to say, this is going to be one of the more interesting races because, in my opinion, this mile and a half is actually kind of a no man's paradise here. This is basically a track that allows you to run top, bottom side a lot, and really has been kind of known to kind of get drivers a little bit squirrely, as you see right there. Unfortunately, Patrick McQuaid in the 77, just like Rodriguez, squirrely on the outside, then squirrely down to the bottom, lost all control. Rodriguez moving it straight ahead of him now after that bobble, now knowing how he feels. Unfortunately, I will say the 77 of McQuaid might not be too thrilled about that. A lot of speed loss there on Blake Howell in the 26. I'm not sure if he had to overcorrect the tires or what happened here, but what is going on? The race leader loses it in turn number 3. I am so confused. What is going on down there? Cole Martin even troubles. What is going on down here is beyond me. What has happened? Something is not right and something is not going well for these drivers, and I don't know what's coming from it. Multiple drivers involved in issues and incidences. Let's take a look at really where it all started, which really was that was that 57 Mr. Matthew Rodriguez will take a look at the replay and see exactly what went wrong here. Presented by the Muffler Man, here's what happened. So let's watch it from the top. No problems here. Didn't go under the wall. Slightly loose. Car seemed to handle okay. And then everything else just kind of went upskirt and then crazy town there after that. Take a watch here. Patrick McQuaid. This is the next one that went off the list on the radar. The Muffler Man 77. Off of turn 4. Kind of clips the wall protection. Now that one I could see why would happen there, but 26 Blake Howell. Well, that's a different story. Let's go on board with him here. Came right around, and you can see he's slightly loose. That's where he lost the lead from. And right there, just all of a sudden, everything just went completely haywire on him, and he lost full control of the car. And then to cap it all off here, troubles down there for that 26 as well. I believe the 45 Cole Martin, that's where he had problems. So I don't know, race fans. This is a wild, wild little get around here, and I'm not sure what is going on, but this is not how you would expect to start this race up, much less how you would expect to start this battle up between these drivers. I don't know. Rubber Van Ness saying it's a long race. Well, it's a long race, and it's going to be even longer. They're struggling this bad already. And again, I don't know if it's a car giving it to them, or if it's a track, or what have you. I don't know. I mean, from my angle, it looked like the rear end was kicking out a bit, especially on that number 26 of Howell's car. But I mean, it was just kind of all over the place. Just kind of snuck on them. They didn't realize it happened until it was too little, too late. Yeah, I don't know, folks, but that was definitely not the way we usually kick things off here on PTM Racing TV. Usually we can get a little bit of a harder start and a little bit of a harder race run, but unfortunately, I don't really think that was going to happen there. We are double file back up for restart, so we're going to continue the race on. They're not stopping here. Yeah, 134 laps to the distance. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pacing. There's going to be a lot of charging. There's going to be some guys really trying to hold their own positions in. But, I mean, as a driver standpoint, I really don't know how you can kind of keep yourself from losing too much of that grip, too much of that angle there, especially knowing you have a lot at stake and a lot going on. That's going to definitely be the toughest part, I would say, for anyone that's trying to even survive and conquer out of this track. We'll just have to wait and see here as we're ready to get this field back on run, back on target. The back row sim racing boys, represented by that number 87 of Thaddeus Marshall, will be up on the radar here with his teammate, the 35 Wes Fuller, up on that outside, trying to give him a bit of a hand down there. We'll pace the cars coming off down off turn number 4. This time on by, Tom Bourne will be now one of the front mans to lead the band and tune up the music. Off our corner number 4, down to that restart zone. The Muffler Man restart has begun, and we're back on our way yet again. And again, it's just, we're going to have to kind of wait and see if drivers get a little too crazy. They get a little too hard on the throttle to start this one off, but Thaddeus Marshall gets a good lead out of the gate. But again, you can see drivers are being very cautious here. Don Bourne on the outside line right now, moving his way on in here. Oh, look out, a little sideways there. Ricky Gonzalez wasn't the 48. Looked like he tried to go to the bottom line, shoot for the skirts, shoot for the runs. Got a little too extended out there, a little too hard on his momentum. Lost control there, but he was able to hold the line down and keep himself in the 4th slot as Tom Bourne now scoots his way ahead here of the 87 of Thaddeus Marshall. Moving the chains on up to the top side. Tom Bourne going up where earlier on we saw Blake Howell, Cole Martin all struggle to stay out that wall protection. Doesn't seem to have any fear up there right now. And you can hear that throttle rhythm too. A lot of these guys are being very careful. We're kind of hitting the toes and hitting the pace here. It almost to me sounds like they're trying to feather the throttle into the turn and then hammer the throttle a little bit out of the turn without really going full haywire. Being smooth on your gas pedal and smooth on your braking is one thing, but I think it's a whole nother to really amount to the equation, amount to the speed you have to carry on with just to even hold down the line, hold down a charge. John Borkamer here with the 11 and TJ Roberts as you continue to see the battles at stake and the battles on the road here. Field working off down, off the end. You can see a huge money-making shot on the outside from TJ Roberts as the 11 looks to try to somehow find a little bit more rung off, a little bit more speed around the corners. Ricky Gonzalez lost a lot of speed yet again. This time it does cost them quite a bit as your number one seed, Blake Howell, way back in the field here after that little tag he suffered on the wall protection down in turn number 2 and 4 earlier, and maybe a little bit of glitch graphic gremlins coming at him. Oh no. And the 26 again into the wall. He is scratching and clawing and bashing that thing up. He's trying to get out of there. There is something wrong with the 26. He is in trouble. Parks it off. Is he going to get off the track? No call yet. He's going to be careful, though, because we've got drivers coming up on him. Yellow flag. Yellow's coming out. Yellow's coming out. And this was kind of something they had to do. They had to get the yellow out, unfortunately, with that car parked down there. He does refire, though. Only one fast repair, though, he can use. I don't know if he wants to exactly use it right now, but this does not look like something mechanical other than maybe something else inside the car. We'll take a look at the replay and see about that. You can never be too sure anymore. Well, there's a glitch graphic gremlin, and that wheel is turned in right. I think he's trying to stay out of the way of drivers, but then he tried to refire it, and I'm not sure if it's in the transducer just completely whiffed on him or the wheel completely died out of there and something in this power steering broke, but that definitely is going to slow his momentum down quite a bit and really make things a lot more difficult for him and his crew. So, second caution of the day. We'll see what happens as they come into pit road here. Tom Bourne is the man that leads the pack in. He'll show everyone the way and show them how he plays. Blake Howell now in after his little damaged up car there. 16 puts it back on out. 26 still looks like he's going to try to fix the damage up himself. Wes Fuller gets out second. Third will be TJ Roberts. Matthew Rodriguez fourth, and then fifth will be Cole Martin as the other drivers behind him. Have a little bit of a choose your rule, choose your lane kind of thing coming out of pit road. Looks like Gonzalez will beat out Robert Kinney in this one, so that will set the field back into play and back into motion. Pace car will bring the drivers around one more time by here. We'll square them up to phase number 2 here and hopefully get some of these guys kind of squared up a bit. Again, this is going to be some very delicate racing, it seems like, because, again, they're struggling to keep these cars online and really keep them out of trouble. And again, I really don't know if that is just because of the fact that these works of art have kind of that unique style of racing, that unique style of holding the line down, holding the charge in, or what is going on. But to me, something does not sound right, and something does not seem right in the actual cars tonight. There could be that, or there may be something just on the Kansas Speedway track that's getting them slicked up a little bit more in trouble. Either way, they're going to have to start exercising those demons, and they're going to have to start really clamoring for a little bit more of a harder charge, a harder run, because this is not the time to be letting loose this soon. This is not the time to be destroying up equipment like that. You got to start getting it figured out now if you want to hold on with the best. The playoffs have begun, and we're back underway with the race. DJ Roberts, the 11, now moving the chains up ahead. The Mango Mayhem 11 making a solid move off the pass on in. Gets around Wes Fuller here as Mama Fuller watches on from her boy. And down to the bottom lane. This might be slider territory coming up here from the 35. And if you don't know what a slider is, let me put it to you in simplest terms. You go down low, entering from the entry. You come up high, coming off the exit. That's what we call in dirt racing the old slider. Basically, it's a unique move that looks extremely cool, but it's an extremely effective and scary move if you mistime it. And Tom Bourne yet again gonna have time to leave and relax because there's problems down there. Ricky Gonzalez and Matthew Rodriguez, trouble down there for both drivers off turn number 2. And Ricky Gonzalez yet again with some problems exiting off turns and exiting through the crowd. But let's take a look at the replay. This one, yeah, you can see entry this time is what caught him off guard. And Rodriguez actually got a little bit in trouble there. So did the 87. Got clipped in and sent on around, and no one really was able to avoid that. I don't even know where to begin with that whole situation, that whole connection made there. But take a look at the replay once again here and see if we can get a better idea of really just kind of that whole situation. Watch the 48. There's Rodriguez. You can see yet again that car just got loose on him and sent on around. Thaddeus Marshall nowhere to go and found the worst end possible here as we take one more look at it from his onboard camera. See, once Rodriguez got loose, he didn't know where to go. He's trying to shoot the gap if he could, stay away from the 48 Gonzalez, and did not go well for him and did not bode well at all. I mean, again, I do feel like these next-gen Cup cars are the ultimate challenge right now in iRacing, and maybe a little bit less if compared to the 87s, but I'd still say right now these things are still a mystery and a handful for anyone to figure out there. Yeah, when Chris Papa said, "and here we go," earlier in the chat, I don't think this was what he meant by that. So our field now are going to hopefully find themselves in more of a fighting zone, fighting spirit kind of race area. They are only 1/7 really of the way through this race. They know they've got a lot of laps that need to be pulled up and a lot of laps that still have to go. Back to the green flag restart. 16 and Tom Bourne will lead the pack in and show them the way. Filed up yet again, coming off down on the back straightaway here. Field going to come a little bit closer with the connections making their way in. West forward down the bottom. Oh, here comes a little slide action. Oh no, that's not what I meant by sliding up. Oh no! Oh my goodness! And the 35 West Fuller slide job turns into slider from the rear end, and that thing goes straight right. Unbelievable. Oh man, this might be very, very difficult to watch, folks. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not saying that in a rude way to any of these drivers, but I'm saying this as a way of showing this track is not gonna be good for these next gens if this is what's happening. This has taken drivers for a ride tonight. What a scary wreck here for the 35 West Fuller. Goes completely sidewalled, nowhere to go, had nowhere to get out of, and just completely found himself in a worse position than really he was going for there. He had the speed, he had the momentum, and everything just kind of went straight right on him. It's amazing Tom Bourne got so far ahead of him and got away from it, but same can't quite be said there for the 11 of TJ Roberts. I guarantee you TJ not too thrilled with this one, knowing now he's going to have to try to get a cleanup job and a car fixed up. This might not end well for anyone tonight. And they only have one faster pair, by the way, so if they wreck these things out, they've wrecked them out. They're done. Like, that's it. That'll be the end of their game. It'll be their Marvel's end game with no one exactly getting away from it all. And again, no one in the Marvels did get away from it unscathed that I'm aware of. Someone in the comment section can let me know about that one. I'm pretty sure no one came away unscathed from that movie. So the field will have to find their rhythm, find their run, and hopefully keep themselves under pressure and under control. When we come back, race fans, there's more action to see, and hopefully things can get kind of figured out and kind of settle down here on the track. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by the Muffler Man. They are the mechanic shop that served customers from all over the country for over 20 straight years. They are located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services, all various of vehicles, including exhaust, maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593 to get your vehicle serviced up today. Alright, boys, come on now. We can get this going. There's one thing I do know is these drivers can run these cars and they can run them pretty well, but I don't know if it is just Kansas that's getting the better of them or if it's something on the track. I don't know if the maintenance crews and the officials are going down there right now. They're telling me that there are no oil slicks or any wet spots down on the track that they're aware of. They're trying to make sure everything is good to go there. Off the clutch is down to turn number 4 this time on by here. Tom Bourne yet again has the start and the command will structure him down and set the green flag back on out. And Thaddeus Marshall once again looks like he wants to try and do what his teammate could not do earlier, and that's try to take over for the race lead. firing hard down on the back straightaway here, looking for some opening, looking for some run. It's Patrick McQuaid, the 77. Tries to do a little bit of the same here. The Camaros right now trying to work together, maybe trying to help each other out here a little bit, knowing that the big ballad built for tough number 16 is just right up ahead of him here, still holding down that race lead as the 87 of Thaddeus Marshall with troubles down there off turn number 2. It's almost the same kind of situation, same kind of zone that we saw a minute ago where they were having all sorts of problems kind of holding down the line on the inside. Oh, look out down there in the back end here. Cole Martin loose off of turn 4. And Ricky Gonzalez, same situation and circumstance. Man, these cars are not having it tonight. They're just not giving him a break. I mean, I love watching drivers have to fight the toughest and the craziest cars around, but I don't know how I'd say about these kind of ordeals, this kind of circumstances, man. This is getting pretty wild. We'll just have to continue on and see what happens as it plays out in front of our views. Down to the inside lone. Though TJ Roberts looking for a little bit of an opening. Going to the bottom. Will he shoot the gap? Well, he's going to go shooting for something down there. He's shooting for a gap. He's shooting for a run. He's shooting for an opening. He's looking for anything he can to get ahead of the MRN number 10 of Robert Kenny. The SimSpeedShop.com machine. Roberts taking the outside away from the 10. The FRN now moves his way up. Oh no, not again. Look out, save it. Yes, sir. Nicely done by the 10. Good save, but unfortunately a lot of time lost there just by that little closed up gap. He just messed up on turn number 2. And out of the 1-3 speed of Chris Papa, looking to become the big daddy of them all here on this track, looking to bring the speed up to the show. Holding the outside line up here at the moment with TJ Roberts and Thaddeus Marshall right up ahead of him. And again, Chris Papa, one of the biggest things I've kind of noted with him is he's always been kind of that cool, collective kind of guy, that kind of stable framework. I would presume you want to see more often than not from a driver. He certainly does bring that to the table and caters that to his liking. But on the same token and kind of the same ordeal, there is one kind of downside he's been struggling with all season, which is he's still without a race win. Also, without really a real home in his mind, he's really been trying to get his team and trying to rally the troops up to hopefully find and conquer whenever he could. But it's been a very hard couple of races, very hard time or two to really stay in place with this stuff. Down board in the 16, looks like he's going to have to start drinking up some G Fuel and get this thing to start building up some speed and crank up the horsepower a little bit, because the 77 of Patrick McQuaid, despite the problems earlier, he now tries to put the Muffler Man CBDMD Chevrolet 77 Camaro into the race lead, but it looks like Tom Bourne decided to say, to heck with that, I'm not letting that happen. I did all that speech and Tom Bourne was like, nope, that ain't happening. Yeah, Tom's one of those cats, man, you just cannot judge a book by its cover. He's a wily kind of cat when it comes to taking some drivers to their limits, to their wire here. Exactly what we're getting here in this case. TJ Roberts, the 11 here, he goes 8 spots up, started back in 11th. He is right now the hard charge of the night, just up ahead of the 87 of Thaddeus Marshall. And we saw again Wes Fuller really having all sorts of problems down there and really struggling to keep his car in one piece of one check here. After that big blow wreck, he suffered off turn number 4. And it seems like guys are being a lot more conservative, a lot more stable, if you will, with the way they're slowing down the positions and everything. And now it looks like TJ Roberts is going to try and come up a little bit closer to him, try to make a little bit of a stance, a little bit of a fight on him. Great onboard camera there of the 11 of TJ Roberts as you continue to see Patrick McQuaid here in the number 77 hold his line down, hold his race lead intact. Seems to be under the pressure and under the go. Looking for some opportunities to strike and conquer when he can and really see if he can find something. So Roberts right now looks like he may have had slowed up a little bit, maybe a little bit too much as well. Here's Tom Bourne starting to maybe get a little bit of the reins, a little bit of the grip here on this, I would even say, slippery circuit. Really, usually Kansas Speedway is not like that by any means, or really like that in general. Generally, we see this track being kind of more of a straight down and in, kind of 3 wide, 2 wide, multiple line area to really run with it. And that 670 horsepower package too. I would have thought that would have been kind of an interesting little tape because we've seen some extremely hard races here with the 550 horsepower package of the Gen 6s when it came to, you know, the guys like Champion Power Equipment, Fast Fun Cup Series, to even BackFire Sim Racing a long time ago, to really also, I would say, even I'd probably put in Spartan Logistics Management LLC IROC Challenge Series. They've coming out here as well. They put these next gens to good use. And that was under the 550 horsepower package, so I wouldn't have thought that this would have been so much trouble for them out of the start, to where now they had to slow down just a little bit, really gain their coverage and gain their speeds here, and this is exactly what they're doing now. As caution flag flies back on out, there's problems down there, I believe, here. Or maybe not. Looks like actually nothing going on down there that I'm aware of. I don't see any cars wrecked or any troubles down there. Caution is out though. Hearing this little tidbit here, this looks like Tom Bourne will have himself his hands full yet again as we've gotten 40 laps plus in out of 134. Patrick McQuaid, he's out your race leader. Let's slow down a little bit here. So we do see kind of the timing sheet, of course, showing him as the leader. That is not true. Obviously, he is kind of having to be thrown back into the spot. So field will square up once again here. They'll get trapped down on the track, kind of fired off on the spots here once more. Field will have to hopefully find their runs and find their sanctuary yet again. Tom Bourne putting back a few spots here. I go 5th place. Patrick McQuaid moves up to the race lead. TJ Roberts, Thaddeus Marshall, Cole Martin, and then Tom Bourne will then be your top 5. Pace car lights will turn off next time by as we see the field get squared up in position. Matthew Rodriguez here. The 57 getting out of pit road now, bringing it off to the ends and off the spectrum. The Steak and Shake 57. And you can just see the damage done from earlier on. Again, I gotta believe he did not use his instant repair up, probably when maybe he should have. Blake Howell looks like he has used everything up, so now he is without a fast repair. He had to clear the damage up and get the car good to go for the run restarts. Still damage on the 48 Gonzalez. I believe he has not used his, to my knowledge. Again, I'm not for sure. I do not have a timing sheet on these guys, if they do have instant repairs used or not. Believe me, I wish I could. So we'll bring him right back around here. The Muffler Man Next Gen Cup Series tonight for the BackFire Sim Racing team here at good old Kansas Speedway, Kansas City, Kansas. Beautiful skies, beautiful lights and scenery around the track here as we take a look now at our track tech talk for the evening here as the yellow flag still continues on out. Track tech talk pretty much shows us all we need to know, which is this is a wide open track, multiple angles, kind of multiple areas. You can run pretty quick in the 3-wide double-sided here. This is definitely a very good, solid, stated track for these next gens. That 690 horsepower makes things a little bit more tricky, though, exiting off 4 and really exiting off 2 because those flat spots on the run from aggressive to the flat ends of the back stretch and the front stretches. But I will say more than anything, the one turn you've got to watch out more is definitely turn 2 because, again, that little area on the bottom lane, if you hit it just right, it'll scoot you up right into a bad line, into a bad spot. It's gotten a lot of drivers before, and you've already seen a few of them get taken tonight for quite a ride. Green flag back on out here, and they are set to go. Patrick McQuaid, the restart man, the man that has the line, holds the power, and holds the charge up. Tom Moore going right up to him, though, looking to try to take a few of these guys with him. Trying to knock some guys off the list, trying to knock a few guys off the hard work ships and the hard racing that runs with it. Oh, he's going to find himself in the troublesome territory of turn 2 as well. He saw the 16 of all people actually getting loose out of there. Lost it right out of that turn, rear end slides up, and the front end just kind of drove nosedive down to kind of save the car. He had really no choice. It was either that or wreck the entire thing out. Well, he didn't want to do that, so really there was only one thing left to do. That was to get out of that road, get out of that speed. Hammering down off turn 2 yet again, though. Cole Martin and the 35 of West Florida, they are each in their own rhythm playing field, their own little zone, trying to find some openings, trying to find some runoff. Some heavy competition, some heavy contenders throughout this one. Some really big moves or dooms here. Really trying to see which one can outplay and outsmart the other driver, and that's one thing I've always kind of noticed when it comes to watching every single one of these drivers get out here and race was the overall stability, the overall control that they had versus what they were up to. Sometimes you can find it in the right area, sometimes you can find it in the wrong areas. And it looks like Blake Howell, after all the problems, all the mistakes, and the glitchcrafted gremlins coming to haunt him and really take him for a wild ride out there. He's now in this hunt. He's now in this praying field, but look out below. Oh my, hold on, hold on. Nice move there by Tom Bourne, and a really nice move by Blake Owl. Goes 3 wide, double-ended, double-sorted. It threw and pretty much just charged this entire field up. Wes Fuller had to back out of the gas. So did Cole Martin here, and a big save coming up from the 45 as he was able to save that one. Talk about hitting your marks when you need to, and talk about trying to stay in line and stay in position when you had to. Good Lord. There was so much that could have gone wrong for both drivers there when they went and did their 3 wide connections. But at the same time, everybody came out of it so clean, so rugged and rigid. Makes you kind of wonder they didn't have that one planned out from the very get-go of this race. All riding, walking the ride, walking the roll, trying to hold on to anything you got up there is easier said than done. You're seeing a lot of big moves coming up and a lot of tough contenders trying to strive and conquer. That's like a kiss of death being up there, man. I don't know how drivers can wall ride that smooth, that closely. I mean, I absolutely hate running anywhere near that wall. That's why I've always said I was more of a bottom feeder when it came to racing. I always prefer to run the bottom, and I will continue to always prefer to run the bottom for a variety of reasons. Because running the top side could end up doing something like that. Thaddeus coming off turn 2. The exit wise, he clips the wall protection and lost all the run. Now it's Tom Bourne's turn to take it over. FRN number 10 here, Robert Kenny. Now next on the hit list, the 16 is mounting everything at these boys. Got some close connections coming in through the turns. Blake Owl now the number 1 qualifier, looking to try and hopefully kind of redeem and restructure what he lost earlier. Firing it back down that back straightaway here, looking for a run. Big bump coming to the 10 of Thaddeus from the 10. And Robert Kenny got definitely all of that and then some. Man, I tell you what, for a guy of like Howell's stature tonight, I would have thought that qualifying route and that qualifying run he got would have been kind of a showcase of what his talents were going to bring to this race. And in ways, we're seeing kind of that moments of brilliance yet again as the driver, but to me, it's kind of a rougher ride, a rougher turn off, and even now Tom Bourne has his own troubles for the first time tonight. No caution thrown. The G Fuel 16 spins it slideways on down in the grassy plains. Patrick McQuaid still running a whole runoff. Still no caution here. I don't know what they're going to do about McQuaid coming up to him. He's trying to get it refired. He's trying to figure out why was there no caution. Where is the officials that he's saying? McQuaid has the race lead now. I think he's going to have an even more comfortable lead, knowing he's got a 3-second gap on both the Kenny and Howell camp. Kenny gets a little piece of wall coming in. Turn 2. Ooh, easy goes. Easy does her. And Blake Owl, man, he came so close to tapping that number 10. I'm surprised he didn't get any of him. He got away with it. And that is Marshall now moving back row sim racing into the fight, into the fray. He's definitely making this team and making this car not look like any back marker around here. He is trying to be the head honcho in the name of the game. Folks trying to get some cameras on that 16 and Tom Bourne here to see what happened there on his little spin around in turn 4. No confirmation or no word on whether we can get any of that. So unfortunately, really has no way of telling you if maybe the 10 of Kenny gave him a tapper. And really just was what everybody else was suffering with tonight, which is just trying to hold the line down, trying to hold these cars in play and in position. down to the last, about 75 laps now. This time on by. McQuaid still your race leader. And Thaddeus Marshall now running right on Robert Kenny's outside. Went from the top, went to the bottom. Now it's time to send it straight for the shooters. Thaddeus going top, going for a hard run. Got a lot of speed and momentum building his camp. TJ Roberts looks like even he is looking to try to gain some ground, trying to gain some coverage after his little hiccups and little problems earlier. He struggled with really consistency and control. It was put in a really tough angle, really tough spot earlier, as he's now trying to get his lap back, trying to get his speed back under the hood. You can see those fresher tires, what they'll do for you. They're doing quite a bit here, and they're doing quite a lot to help out him and his team. Patrick McQuaid with the race lead still, and a mounting, charging, strong lead here for that 77. The first time in a long time we've really seen Patrick really be able to kind of show his strengths and his skills out on the track, and he's definitely doing that and then some here with his performance today. Kind of interested to see if he can continue on with that, continue this one from beginning to end, as well looks like we're going to see it. Maybe the 87 can pull off the slider his teammate could not do earlier in Wes Fuller. Well, they didn't quite get all of it. Back down there, coming down the middle end. That was what happened last time, though, with Wes, and he ended up getting the rear end loose. I wonder if there being some heat in the tires, did that help out the 87 to try to go for that move, try to go for that cutoff shot there. That's the only thing that really can tell me that that car was not any different than what Wes's was earlier. Either way, though, it is still really anybody's game plan, anybody's race on who wants this one more and who wants this one badly. Robert Van Ness saying 77 looks good out front. Yeah, right now he does pretty good up front. I think really he's kind of shaping up to what he's been kind of trying to do most of the season, really trying to prove this season, which is he can hang with these boys and hang with the best. We are now hit halfway points here, so as long as everything stays under clear, stays under pressure, I'd say we've got this one locked and loaded for a finish. United States Republic of the United States, if you will. The UR of 26 Blake Howell right now representing his Ford Mustang team well, trying to get to that Chevy Camaro of McQuaid. You can see the times gap zone, everything's starting to slow up just a slight bit on McQuaid here. It looks like he's lost some ground, lost some speed. Might be taking it a bit easier knowing how far ahead he was. Remember, he had about a 3-second lead earlier on, so might be trying to save the tires a little bit and not lose too much. But unfortunately here, Blake Howell and them are getting a really good amount of speed here. Now he might be put to the test if he's not careful. Lap 68 will tell our tale, and another 10th gain. And that is going to make things even more tricky, a little bit more difficult. As that 26 and the 87 are coming up through the field, coming up through the ranks here. Some major moments coming through. And really, you kind of have to do that. You have to really set yourself up. You have to set up the momentum if you want any chance to bring home the speed and bring home the bacon here. Slowed up speed, slowing down on the momentum. Blake Howell is now just reeling in that 77. You can see the draft line starting to be a bit of a factor for him and the crew. Things starting to get a little bit more closed up and more caught on control nature. Wes Fuller here as well, looking to get a top 5 back in his rung as he looks to get up there to the 13 of Chris Papa. Papa, the BI, the holder, the man in charge, the man with the power, the man with all the strong starts and all the strong runs, but has yet to be able to put this 13 into victory lane. But yet the 1-3 speed has made enough of a charge and a momentum pounding speed to be put into this playoff series and to play out the runs. And I think that's well earned and deserved, if you ask me. It doesn't matter if he didn't win any races. It doesn't matter if he's really not been the absolute fastest guy. He has proven time and time again he can hang with them. Lap starting to close up, and you can see when fuel strategy, fuel lines start to get a little bit more creeping in, that may make things a little bit more difficult. And I don't know if McQuaid is really losing all that speed because of how hard he ran earlier, or if he is trying to play possum. But if he's playing possum, this is not a good time to do it, especially with 2 cars behind him. Don Bourne is all over the place. He's back in the grassy plains again. He is struggling to keep that 16 on line. Keep it under control though, bud. You got leaders coming up behind you. Hal smells blood in the water. He knows this is now his opportunity to strike with that 16. Tom Bourne getting all sorts of trouble and all sorts of loose here. There is a slight bit of damage on that right side of the 77. I don't know. Maybe that might be affecting his aerodynamics just enough to help the 26 come up at him. But obviously, that 26 is a lot better of a car right now than the 77. Oh, that's not going to help him much. That hurts him more than anything, and that might be why. Well, now we know where the damage came from and where that started up, and Blake Owl makes him pay for it. Straight to the lead. The 26 moves the chains ahead. And Blake needs a good run tonight. Remember, he is so far down on the points list with Carl Hamwork, the man of the hour, the man with all the power. He is the one that is holding the lead and the points get from every single one of these drivers. And you know, just as well as anything, he would love to change that. Batcher McQuaid has literally lost all his momentum, all his power. He gets passed on by Thaddeus Marshall here. Blake Howell got him in turn 4. Turn 2 will go to Thaddeus. Thaddeus now moving the chains up ahead with the 26 just right in front of him. Speaking of right in front of him here, how about this little battle coming up? Little bit of a battle between the 45 of the Richard Martin home service number 45 and that 35 of Wes Fuller representing for the Back Row Sim Racing team. West was battling for the race lead earlier on, but unfortunately due to timing issues and due to a little swivel, if you will, of the corners there, entering in through turn number 4, found himself on the receiving end, a little bit of that troublesome slot. Now he is the one that is fighting for his race and fighting for everything he's got, with the 45 of Cole Martin looking to take him on in. As he brings it right around off of turn number 4, we'll crank it up a little bit and let the boys do the talk in the race as the 45 takes the lead over from him. Whoa, now a little trouble down there. We've got a caution flag out on the track here. And I'm not seeing any driver spun or crashed on our end here. I believe that will be another ghost caution, or maybe it was a little bit of a brake caution, if you will, to give the drivers a chance to breathe. I'm not really sure there. But nevertheless, we have still about 54 laps remaining here on the show.
Got a copy, Mr. Christian?
Yeah, we got you down here, sir. What's going on?
That would be the end of stage 2. Going to give you the rundown on stages, how they went for the second stage.
Yep. So stage 1 complete, and then second stage, what we got going on there?
So we got Mr. Blake Howell winning stage 1 or stage 2 in first, Thad in second, McQuaid in third, Robert in fourth, Chris Papa in fifth, Cole Martin in sixth, Wes Fuller in seventh, Matthew Rodriguez in eighth, Tom Bourne in ninth, and TJ Roberts in 10th.
And then, of course, Ricky Gonzalez, the last of our drivers, in the dead last scenario there. So now with the field kind of squared away and ready to be put back into position, how are we going to go about our final stage here, sir?
Hopefully we get through it nice and clean. It's been a pretty clean race so far, and a lot of great racing. So, hope it does go green the rest of the time.
Hopefully so indeed. But before you go, there is one little question we have for you down there, which is really, we saw a lot of drivers getting pretty loose and pretty much having some problems down there from turn 2 and turn 4. Is the track really just kind of a little slicked up, or do these rear ends of the next gens just like to kind of get loose and scrabbly on them?
I think they do like to get a little loose and squibbly on the drivers. Right now, track temp is below 80 degrees still, so still kind of a tight track. It's just overdriving the car and trying to get too much out of the corners.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, we do at least appreciate your time here, Dylan, for coming on board and letting us know down on the race control side of things, as well as the racers here and how they're handling and feeling. So hopefully things get a little bit more cleared up, and from now on we can get to the big stage and the big final race end here. The end point has now been reached, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good one.
All right, for sure there. Thank you for your time, bud.
Yes, sir.
Dylan McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, that was the one that we were talking with here. He's one of the guys that helps keep this BackFire sim racing crew aboard and keeps it afloat, and definitely helps out the guys down there. Much love to him, much love to the sport. So that was stage 2. So again, I will apologize. I did not know completely that was stage 1 and 2 and 3. Admittedly, I should have done a little more research. That was my own fault. So many leagues to work with, and so many rules and regulations, everything I have to read over and all that. It can be a bit of a handful sometimes. So again, it's just one of those things, guys. But anyway, we are now set to go in motion. The field will get one more lap around the track. So once we get back from our commercial break, we'll see just how well they use it and how well they hold on the line. Chris Papa will set the tone on the restart. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, is presented in part by the Muffler Man. They're in the mechanic shop that served customers from all over the country for 20 straight years. They are located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services for all various of vehicles, including exhaust maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593 to get your vehicle serviced today. And a big thank you to the Muffler Man crew and all their support. And I think a few of these guys may need to get some of these cars kind of dented out a little bit after the race they've had today. I will say earlier on tonight, man, it was a very wild, surreal circumstance in the field that we brought to the table. It was different. It was difficult to kind of sit through and kind of have on with the way things were given to these guys and really giving them troubles. They bring the field back onto the back straightaways, and they are ready and set to field in motion. Another hard charge, another set of hard racers here. Who will be the one to come out on top? Who will be the one to take home the gold? We will have 50 laps to figure it out. Here at Kansas Speedway, we initiate a marksman in our restart zone. The Grand Duke holds the line, holds the field. He brings us to the table. The green is out. We're back underway. The Grand Man himself here fires everyone off. Blake Howell screams this thing straight ahead and has the race lead locked up. But Tom Bourne, despite all the problems, despite all the troubles, he did not go a full-on lap down, and now he has a chance to redeem and reclaim. He's going to be in a hot dog fight here between Thaddeus Marshall and Robert Kenny up there. Smoking the guns off and smoking the field down in positions here. Every single one of these drivers trying to find some openings, trying to find some runoff here. Again, knowing that there could be a big concluding moment firing in at any point here. Let's follow over some troubles down there in that number 35 machine. We'll take a look at the PTM replay and see what happened here. We had our eyes on him. We had a camera set to go up there, and here was the unfortunate incident that happened almost identically. The 45 and the 57 as well as that 35 loose off the same corner. You see turn 2 yet again claims another set of drivers. And really that's all due in large part to the overall commanding structure these cars bring to the table and the commanding spots that make the Kansas Speedway so difficult to run sometimes. That is a little bit loose, a little bit of a troublesome turn off turn number 1. Whoa! Oh! Huge hit though off the back straightaway right into turn number 2. Thaddeus and Robert Kenny both colliding, connecting, and destroying each other's cars off turn 2. And Thaddeus, I gotta believe, is probably not too thrilled about this one, knowing he had a pretty solid car and a pretty solid run, but now has to embark on another journey to pit road. Got into the wall here on turn 1. Came down a little. Kenny might have came up slightly. May have not realized where that 87 was going, and a lot more damage on the 87 than I think that 10 got. But we'll take one more look at it from another angle here. This one I will pretty much guarantee it will give us the true angle of what these guys were seeing. This is our drone cam we were watching down. As soon as he kind of came around, we saw this kind of flip on by. And from my angle, looks like Kenny was expecting to go up topside. Thaddeus was trying to stay down towards the outside, but ended up going down a little. And it just looked like worlds collided and broke the rules and broke their regulations on their cars. So field in pit road right now. Just reaching them back out on the track and back out into the playing field. Tom Bourne will get the better of the two from Blake Howell, so now Howell will have to show a little bit of that maple moxie he's been known to throw up here in the 26. Going to have some work to do on the old 16 Tom Bourne. West Florida 35 also kind of in this hunt, kind of pinching his way around the track. Knows he's got a lot at stake and a lot on the mind here. Pressure points starting to come up. Pressure starting to build up. Knowing he's going to need to start making some moves and making some hard runs here. Now, remember something too, race fans. We will not see these boys next week. They'll have the week off to give them some time to relax. But tomorrow night, if everything goes well, we should see the broadcast for Citadel Rallycross coming up on our show. Martinsville race will be on the 15th of April, so expect that to tune in. And then, of course, on the 22nd, Nashville Super Speedway, Homestead Miami Speedway the next week. And then we'll end up in May with the 6th and the 13th. We'll visit up Richmond and Michigan. And that will end our season off on the highest of notes. So our field right now is squared away here, and the Muffler Man 77 of Patrick McQuaid has been itching and scratching to get back into that race lead. Despite all the problems earlier on, he's going to have a lot of work to do here. Patrick heading back down into pit road despite the cars getting double filed up, so it looks like his pit strategy is going to be becoming more concise. It looks like he wants to try to make every single lap count, every single measure count for him and his team. Coming down off the enclosures yet again, off turn number 4 this time on by here. We'll race start. The drivers reset the field up. Back in position, back onto the restart zone. We're back underway. About 42 laps remain now on this track and left to go in this field. Time will tell if they're able to keep themselves in one piece and keep themselves under control, knowing that they've got a lot of work to do here. They have been through quite a bit of a mess, and speaking of a mess down there, producers, why is my background tag there name not messed on the right position? Thank you. I apologize, folks. I didn't realize that was not in the proper way there. I know there was supposed to be Speedway, not S whatever the heck that key code was there, Eadway. Sorry about that. And speaking of unfortunately 45, unfortunately I must say that was not a very wise move. Unfortunately, getting stuck into the outside. Usually when you get stuck up there, that car's not going to come down very easily. And the 45 realized that and they had to back off to get the thing to go down, just to run it back through. Trying to get away from that wall protection, trying to drive this thing into the ground as he continues it on in with the 77 of Patrick McQuaid right in front of him. McQuaid starting to run the field in, starting to run the gauntlet up. He's now using his pit strategy to good use and for good measure as they bring him off down that back end here. Ricky Gonzalez, he is desperately trying to find some way to get all his laps back. He knows he can get lucky dogs and he knows he can get a chance at it. But this is a very detrimental situation if you're that number 48. He knows this one is out of his hands and it's out of his reins here. Pop on the outside, still holding his line down, still hanging in there. West Fuller, how about this? The 35 now. Mama Fuller, I think you have time to kind of speak your mind, speak your thoughts, because your boy is now finally bringing it back into the run. And he is giving it to Blake out here. Looking at our lap time differences and everything, it looks like these two are almost dead even with one another. Pretty solid standing point here. We'll have to see how this one fares for the number 26 of Howell. This lap shows a time gap between him and Fuller of a gain for Fuller there. Nicely done. It's not much, but again, with any kind of gain you can get on these kind of tracks, these mile and a half, to me, that's a win-win scenario for you. Just depending on how many laps you got, and how much speed you have left in there. Really makes up the difference, really makes up the charge. And I guarantee you right now, West Fuller is being very optimistically cautious about how he handles this track. He sees the amount of laps left. He knows what he has at stake. TJ Robertson 11 now, pulling it right up ahead. The Jocko Go Mango Mayhem 11 is still just barely itching out and hanging on to the spot, but here comes that 77 as a Muffler Man now looks to BackFire and shoot his mark. Shoot his shot, take aim, let it rip, let it sink in, let it dip in, call it what you will. At the end of the day, the 77 is not exactly giving him any room to breathe. He has of but just 35 laps left to go. Now is the time to start making some moves, to start making some runs. That 77 knows that he's a big opening arise. He's going to hammer the throttle down, entering into the turn. When you see that 11 go into that wall like that, your first thought is pretty simple. Get in there and fire this one down. That is exactly what he's doing. Oh, TJ, great driving by him, though. He was able to hold back McQuaid's run. He came full on, full center, full throttle. He did not get enough, though, of it. TJ on the bottom lane here. Look at McQuaid now. Takes full aim and full charge. Steals one there from Roberts. And Tom Bourne, really one guy I would not have expected where he's at right now. Currently at 6th, struggling to keep himself in here. Cole Martin now, despite that little wall protection clip in the nose and clip around the track, doesn't seem to be phased too much by it here. Or that 48 Ricky Gonzalez kind of sneak his way around here. Seems to be holding his line down, trying to take one more charge, one more aim here As laps start to click away, then starts the atmospheric pressure of the field, and the momentum starts to rise, not just on the track, but in the booth here as well. I think you guys kind of know how we work around here by now with that stuff. And Wes Fuller is feeling it. He's feeling the gap. He's feeling the run here. He's got something for Howell coming up. Look at the time gap difference here. This is Fuller's run now, coming right up to Howell. Howell is going to need to watch control and watch speed and position. Howell, oh wait a minute, you actually hear something that we've talked about before on the show, but you may have heard it. You may have heard that complete just engine blockage, the engine just stopping there. Don't get worried down there. Don't think something's wrong. What actually the 26 is doing as we take you on board. You hear that? That engine stoppage is basically him saving fuel. He is low on fuel line. He does not think he's got enough to get to the end. So he's trying to preserve as much fuel he is. When you stop the engine cells and you stop those fuel cells from taking any more oil kind of through the shifter and through the engine blocks, what it does is it will pretty much lose your speed a little bit. You won't have as much momentum, but it helps to preserve maybe a few more laps of runs, a few more laps of car in there if you can. And anytime you can get some extra fuel, anytime you can get some speed out there, it helps. But this is one of those moments where now you really need to start being careful, because if you're low on that fuel line and you got this amount of many laps to go, you're going to really need to time and pace every single move and every single shot, because this is going to get very, very difficult. Closing the laps down, closing in on position. Look at this 26 to go, and the 26 is still your race leader, but for how much longer will that be? Wes Fuller, oh my, is he literally on the verge, on the nose of taking that race lead from the 26, but for him, how much fuel does he have left in there? He knows he's going to be really hurting on the fuel run. He's going to be hurting a little bit too if he's not careful here. Watching every single lap. This is where you just start to eavesdrop on these drivers. Start to eavesdrop the field and just get one step closer to just scary thoughts going through your back of your minds. Remember also that the 77, I talked earlier about him going in for more fuel, going into pit road a little later than everybody. I presume it was to get more fuel and get more laps on here. Usually when I see drivers kind of pace for laps and fuel, it's generally on the plate tracks like Daytona and Talladega, where a lot of guys will have to try to ride out the distance, ride out this run here. But here on these mile halves, that happens often too here. It's been known before to do. It's given a lot of drivers some wins out there before. And we've seen here on PTM Racing TV before, if you can time the fuel run just right, or you literally run out the last minute, well, it certainly does make for quite the showcase here and quite the run here, if you will. A mere 23 left, and that 35 Wes Fuller. Oh boy, he's creeping, he's slugging, he's chugging, he's smuggling it up. He's trying to find something on that 26. I have no idea how Blake Al right now has been able to block him from taking the race lead away, knowing he has had to save the fuel lines. But for Wes, really, I think a little bit too has to do with one other thing that really has been making Blake Howell struggle here, which is the fact Fuller, and you can see actually I was just about to bring this up, he's drafting off that rear end, so what helps is he doesn't have to get into the throttle as much. He can actually back off a little bit more than Powell has to, and what it does is it not only saves fuel line, obviously, as mentioned earlier, but what it also does is it helps him actually keep his distance more closely in contact and more in charge. He doesn't have to worry about losing the tempo and losing the speed, and that's exactly what's helping him out here. Ooh, boy, this could get interesting, and this could change on a dime plan here. Matthew Rodriguez there, the 57 Steak and Shake. He's still hanging in there. And he's still fighting, man. That's the thing. He will not quit. He just will not go down. You can try and knock him down. You can try and take him down for all you can and all you want and you're worth, but you're just not going to find a way to take him down that easily. Ooh, into the wall though. Rodriguez lost the last speed and ended up kind of clips himself in there a bit. Cole Martin will definitely love to see that, getting a little bit further ahead of him and not having to worry about it here. The laps continuing to pace on by, and times, gaps, and zones are starting to be sanctioned. They're starting to get questionable. Wes Fuller and Blake Howell seem to be really the two front runners on the spot on, spot off show here because they have no idea what they're going to be able to do. Clutch moments, clutch performance here, and again, I'm still kind of eavesdropping on both these guys here. I know their drivers still trying to hold their chances, hold their shakes head, like Patrick McQuaid and Tom Bourne here, and even Chris Papa. If they either one of those guys make a mistake on their fuel and have to go into pit road, could end up changing the game plan up a little bit. But again, looking at the scenario, looking at this field here, you can see Tom Bourne still far back way up from Patrick McQuaid, although that might not be for much longer here. McQuaid is starting to slow up a little bit here. And Bourne smells and senses it very much so. Fuller, I will say right now, he can actually make enough time to make the pass, make the run, in my opinion. The only reason he's not is because he's trying to tempt the 26 to just overdrive this car and outsmart him and outclass him. Again, this is that mental strategy focus that a lot of drivers really do not take too seriously. You really don't hear enough of on the broadcast. I'm looking at you, Fox, for this, but really, this is just kind of that eavesdropping moment where you literally have no idea what's about to happen next. You have no idea if you're a guy behind you is going to make the dive bomb, if they're going to charge it quickly at you, or what they're doing. The only thing you know is they're in your rearview mirror. And at that point, well, as I've told a friend before, you just got to take your glove, take your hand, make sure the glove is on so you don't break your hand or, getting cuts, and just completely destroy that mirror and make sure it is no longer there. Rely on your spotter for them to tell you where you're at, what's going on. Do not even think about mirrors anymore. And Howell knows this. He's a proven veteran. He's a proven champion. But he has not won here in quite some time. Wes Fuller, I guarantee you, would love nothing more than to get another win and another chance at getting closer to the big one, to the big spot here. And Ellen Fuller finally has joined us in. She's saying, Mama Fuller here, watching her from a country music cruise. Go Tiletown Racing. I did not mean to say Back Row Sim Racing earlier. So Titletown Racing is the name and everything here. And here it is right there. I was just talking about here, Mama. Here he comes. Wes Fuller. Your boy pulls the move. He pulls the big battle zone off. He waited and he found the right time. He hit his marks and went for it. Oh, no. He's not going to get enough of it, though. Looked like he challenged Blake Allen in a great position, a great run. But it looked like he actually is trying to force that 26 to make a mistake here. I think maybe he's thinking he doesn't have enough time to do it. So he went for it there. Or maybe he was trying to force the 26 to get a little bit more loosey-goosey and a little more off the nose. Meanwhile, back behind them, we forgot all about the battle for third here with only 12 to go. Back to McQuaid, still fighting, still trying to scruffle anything of the rubbish and the rummage he's suffered through this season. He's hanging in there. And I will say apologies to the 35 and the 87. I did not mean to call them Back Row Sim Racing. I meant Titletown Racing, so apologies there. And I think right now McQuaid is not too thrilled about how his tires are handled, because now Tom Bourne spies a weakness and sees his strengths opened up for him. He's 8th position away with only 11 laps to go. Moving into third now, with now looking to be a big momentum booster coming up here. The 35, you can see him drop this back stretch yet again and really spew the momentum up into the 26's run. Oh, but a big hit off of turn number 4 might have just ended that entire run entirely. Oh my. And now Blake is not going to have as much pressure on him. I don't know if that's going to help at all. That will end up costing him this win. Blake now has got to make a decision. Does he start to drive a little harder, or does he start to drive a little bit more smoothly and keep his throttle in control and in cahoots with the speed boost? Because now Wes Fuller, with that big hit on the outside wall of turn 4, you saw the car drifting up there. He had nowhere to go and was trying to stay away from it, but that may have been the move that broke the camel's back, if you will. McQuaid's run might be done and over with here. You see that damage on that right side. He's definitely suffering from the aerodynamics of the car as much as the car is dealing with him here. Cole Martin, Chris Papa pretty far stretched out from one another for the battle for 5th here, but Papa, let's just say Papa doesn't exactly give out that easily. You can see though, even he is backing off on the throttle quite a bit. He's backing off trying to save his fuel. These guys are doing everything they can to save that fuel. Seven laps left. Victory is in the eye, is in the sight, and they know it. Six laps left to go. And right now, Wes Fuller, his run is all but done or over with for that race, that campaign to take the race lead away. He gave it everything he had and then some. I think at this point now, he's hoping that Blake outruns out of fuel, because he is struggling to hold this thing online. And if he's not careful here, Tom Bourne will sneak up on him and take a position over. 6 goes to 5 laps left. Absolutely impressive display and performance by the number 26 here, holding down the charge, holding down the run. And now to make things even harder for that 35, Ricky Gonzalez kind of adding his name into the picture and adding him into the fray. Looks like he's going to have no troubles kind of making things a little bit more difficult for him. Gonzalez literally pushing it right behind Wes Fuller, keeping his close regards and close eyes on making too many big moves, too many big decisions here. Trying to stay out of trouble and not rake any of the runs that the 45 has been going through all day long. You know, he's been struggling and hammering everything he's got to the wire just to hold on for this last bit. 4 to go for Titletown Racing in the second place slot. Blake Howell right now in the 26. Talk about keeping this Ford Mustang's hopes in line and in check here. He is just one bit away from finishing this one out. And look, speaking of one bit of finish the way out on the track here, it looks like the battle for second may not be so stretched out as we see now. G Fuel 16 Ford Mustang of Tom Bourne. One last push, one last dash, and as well the Chevy Camaro of Patrick McQuaid with one last haymaker of his own. He's not giving up. He's not going to give out just yet here. And he sees the left clicking away. As you see Chris Papa, he's got to go into pit road. The fuel was just too much. He couldn't do it. Wes Fuller, 2 to go right now, is in trouble. Tom Bourne is right on the clutches and on the nose of stealing his second place run and maybe a win if Howell has to go into pit road. He knows that fuel is starting to get closer and closer to the end. Tom Bourne, I guarantee, is not the least bit worried about fuel, the least bit worried about anything else but himself getting into that second place spot and gaining all the position he can. As the white flag comes on now, here we are set to go for the finish. Does Howell have enough fuel left? And is there enough left? A speed there from the 35 of Ford. Hold on, Bourne into the wall in turn number 1. Got a bit sideways there, a little bit hard on the gas and off the clutches there. Blake saved the car for this long. He saved it for this entire time. And he will have just enough to get to the finish. He takes victory lane checkers to the 26 as they fight hard off of turn number 4. Oh my! Wes Fuller somehow sneaks away with the second place finish over Tom Bourne as Tom gave it everything he had to the wire, but it was not enough for the finish there as Blake Howell will be your race winner here at Kansas Speedway, presented by the Muffler Man. What a race and a finish to take home the gold. Chaotic, exciting, madness, and pretty much to put it nicely, fun all around. Fireworks going off here on PTM Racing TV. How long has it been since we'll be able to show those around here? It is a beautiful sight to be had, that is for certain. Well, it's time to take a look at our Muffler Man finishers tonight. And presented by the Muffler Man, here is your final finishes here today. Blake Howell with a victory, second to Wes Fuller, third to Tom Bourne, fourth to Patrick McQuaid, fifth to Cole Martin, sixth to Matthew Rodriguez, seventh to Chris Papa, eighth to Ricky Gonzalez, ninth to TJ Roberts, 10th to Robert Kenny. That rounds out your top 10 in this one. And what a wild, wild day of racing it has been, and all around, what a great show by everyone involved. Certainly speaks true to the words. These guys do not have any quit, nor do they have anything left to prove, but to put the best of the best on the line and in position for this one. What a performance by all involved. We'll show you our second and third place finishers here, as well as the race winner here in a minute. As we await the arrival of our boys here, the guys are currently getting parked down on the track here and getting ready to talk with us here. But one driver we can't talk with that now has finally got the curse lifted and took one home for 1-3 speed. Well, that just so happens to be this man right now in the 26. Blake Howell comes away to victory lane here. And Blake, congratulations on this win, and a very big win indeed. You had to not only save fuel, get some speed when you had to, and hold off Wes Fuller there in the closing laps until he finally made a mistake. I gotta believe your hands are a little bit sweaty down there, and I gotta believe your heart was racing a bit through all this.
Oh yeah, man, it was really stressful there that last stage. the fuel strategy, having to hold off Wes, and all of it was extremely stressful throughout the race. I'm just glad I didn't get caught up in anything in that last stage, especially coming back from running almost all of stage one down on power. It feels really good to come back and win this one.
For sure there, and I know there's a lot at stake and a lot going on down. Obviously, the playoffs have now continued on and begun here, and I know this one definitely means a lot to you and the team to really get this first win out. So I have to ask you, is this kind of a trend setter? Is this kind of the momentum setter to get this team and this group really on top of their game and their playing field?
I sure hope so. I feel like I've set the bar tonight. I feel like this is a race that I'm gonna keep up this momentum. That's really what I want to do from this point forward.
For sure there. Well, you definitely have a lot at stake and a lot on the mind, I know, but this one will definitely help lift some of that stress and relieve a little bit for you. So, as you come away tonight with the W and the victory, who do you want to thank here for this one?
I want to thank Chris Papa for letting me drive this car. I want to thank United Republic of Painters, main sponsor tonight, Bogey Media, and Rogue Energy.
Well, Blake, congratulations to you once again here, and definitely I'd say you make the sponsors proud and then some tonight.
Thank you.
Blake Al, ladies and gentlemen, the number 26 Asia race winner here today, and an absolute one-stop shop performance for him and his crew. But as we now join in with our second place finisher here today, Wes Fuller. Wes, I know Mama Fuller was watching you on from this one, and I gotta believe there's a little bit of heartbreak there for you when you came off turn 4 and the car just could not handle it anymore. It goes into the wall. What happened down there, sir?
I just got tight. I think the nerves or whatever was kind of getting to me. This is my home track, so, and I've never won here in any league race, so to be that close, that's a little bit heartbreaking. This one's for my sister. She passed away in 2010 of cancer, so I was really wanting this win, and I had her riding alongside of me. So, man, that sucks. But yeah, that was fun for sure.
It was
I just got tight. I just got really tight and just couldn't keep it off the wall.
If you could have done anything differently, would you try to do it with the car, or do you feel like you gave it everything you kind of had with it?
I probably would have just rode a little bit more. We still had a few laps to go, so if anything, I probably backed up just a little bit more in that corner. I mean, there's a pretty good gap behind us, so if I was just a little bit more patient, probably about the only thing I could have done differently.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, I know this one sounds like it's definitely going to be one to kind of clear up on the thoughts and be on your mind for quite a while. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, you still put on a great performance and and really a showcase to the line and to the end there with that third place finisher, of course, of Tom Bourne. So at the end of the day, sir, who do you want to thank here for this second place finish?
Obviously, thank mom for watching, dad for watching. This one's for Wendy. I want to thank Gutter Pro, Bushlight, Joker Graphics, Josh Builder, um, Bill McDonald for putting this, helping with all this. All my guys at Talatown Racing, Ricky, uh, Carl didn't make it tonight. That kind of stung, but Carl, Ricky, Thad, yeah, just everybody at Talatown Racing. Um, you guys for putting this on. I appreciate it. That one stings. That one's gonna hurt for a while.
It will hurt, but at the end of the day, like we said, what doesn't kill you will come back stronger than ever. Wes, we know you will come back stronger than ever, man. Keep your head up and stay strong as a racer. You'll get back at it and get that victory lane spot.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, your second place finisher here tonight, Wes Fuller, in an absolute closing heartbreak for him and his crew. But I said it before, I'll say again, what I just told him is exactly what I'll tell anyone out here, that you don't get out, you don't give up, you don't give out. Eventually, things will work in your favor. They'll work in his favor in due time. But race fans, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. A big thank you again to the Muffler Man for your support and sponsorship as well. And everybody that tuned in the comments section, we love you and thank you for it all. Till next time, folks, we'll see you guys here when the green flag flies up here on PTM Racing TV.